What's up, guys? Nice to see you again.
Can you believe it? Arya and I are in the same city, just like a few
Are you guys
kilometers
ready for
away.
another new episode?
Yeah,
Yeah, always.
That's freaking insane. Insane, insane, insane in the membrane. Are we are we ready to talk about another week's crazy football stories?
Let's go.
absolutely, man.
Let's do let's do it then. Let's get into it. Super.
That
So
there's
let's
this Brit comedian. That guy, the referee, looks like that Brit comedian. I will try and find who it is. I think someone called Fraser Parry or something, like low key stand up comedian. Maybe it's him. I'll find out.
maybe he referees for the
Yeah,
Sunday
who
league.
knows?
You
Maybe.
never know.
Non-league referee.
Non-league ref. Talking
Brilliant.
about the league, though,
Yeah.
let's start with what's happening in the top four, since that's what's been the most exciting thing from this week. And let's see what we have with that. So
Wow.
what's your thoughts? What's
Look
your
at
thoughts,
that.
guy?
Look at Ayan
Who
bringing music to the table. So typical.
who do you guys
Uh,
think is favorites to finish within the top four? Are we still backing our club United?
I think Man City are favorites to finish in the top four. Man City, Arsenal will definitely do it. Um, I think Newcastle have enough to do it. I think Liverpool are a bit far. So United need what, 3 wins? We have 3 home games. I think there is enough to win it. And while Liverpool have easy fixtures, I think United have enough easy fixtures to cross that hurdle.
Okay, so you're still backing United in this
I
in this is
have to. Either that or
yeah,
die tragically. Sad.
yeah, that would
Yeah.
be. What would it mean
Yeah.
if we don't make top four?
Ari, you want to take that?
Well, I think it's very important that we finish top four. I think it's more important than win. In fact, if we would have finished fifth and we would have still been in the Europa League final, yeah, I take not finishing top four. I take finishing fifth, and I take Carling Cup and the Europa and get into Champions League very peacefully. But I am backing on the game in hand, honestly, because yeah, Liverpool is, yeah, it's not happening. That just can't happen. Anything else can happen, but that can't happen. Yeah,
I
I mean,
agree. I think if Liverpool get there instead of us, that would be disaster.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Brighton would have been exciting, and we spoke about Brighton earlier as well. Sorry, Ari, you go ahead.
right.
Brighton would have been exciting, but I kind of feel like United have done enough to get that top four. I see the bad results. Obviously, right now, what was it? The whole game, it did not look like we'll score a goal.
Yeah,
We didn't even come close
yeah,
to seeming like we would, even though there were
yeah,
chances and all. Sure, Anthony had an early chance, and that's the difference, right? The first 5-10 minutes, we have chances. We played really good football those first 20 minutes. Arsenal in those first 20 minutes play as good as United, or well, United play as good as Arsenal in those first 20 minutes. Arsenal get a goal, and the whole
yeah,
game changes after that because the other team is chasing. They leave spaces behind, so you can break on the counter. You can score more, and it's easier. You don't have to break a team down. Whereas West Ham sitting deep, we would have scored that early goal. Anthony would have scored, or I don't know. I think Rashford had a chance as well.
yeah,
Uh, those are the key differences, and that's why we've been talking about needing a number 9, right? Like it's not. Yes, we've spoken about Harry Maguire and all, but our defense was okay. I don't think West Ham had too many amazing chances. I think they scored a goal that arguably should have been saved in any other day.
yeah,
The defense, yes, West Ham had more of the ball than you'd want them to have, especially when you're playing against a team that doesn't base itself on possession football. But the balance of play, I felt that United had better chances in the first half. But when you give a team a chance to get into the second half at 0-0, and that gives them enough impetus to go like, look, we're weathered that storm, we can now just get a bit stronger. We can make it happen. And that's kind of where United have just been struggling. We aren't scoring early. We aren't finding that cutting edge. And when we do, we are really good. We are very strong when we score early. It's a good game. So yeah, I'm disappointed with the result, but I think it's more than anything else. It just highlights our need for a number nine. And ironically, we'll get a great number nine if we make it to Europe. And if we don't make it to Europe, it's highly likely that someone like Osimhen would be like, fuck it, I'll stay at Napoli, right? Like, why would I go over to Manchester United if they aren't even in the Champions League? Maybe I'll go a season later if they make it. But yeah, and yeah, I think it'll be a disaster if we don't make it to the top four. Now,
Yeah, definitely. I think top four was exactly what Ten Hag. I think we didn't want any trophies beginning of the season. I think any trophy that we got our hands on was just going to be a bonus. Uh, but top four was like, it was exactly what we were at least thinking that we would get ourselves. Like, the you need to be consistent to just getting into Champions League to be able to compete at the highest level, because uh, Champions League is also quite tricky. I mean, it's not as tricky as the Premier League, but you have to be good in the Premier League to get into the Champions League. That's as simple as that. So, um, yeah, I, my only problem is the Chelsea game. I really don't know how that's going to work out. I always feel United are this team, that whichever team is not in form, we are just absolutely fucking brilliant in bringing that team back to form. We are like, what do you need? A goal? Here, eat a goal. What do you need? Saving from relegation? There, go score two. It's it's just so yeah. We definitely need to push ourselves in the last. It's literally all or nothing kind of a scenario. I mean, uh, you just cross the line, because FA Cup doesn't guarantee you anything, right? It's just a cup, but you'll not be playing in the highest level of football next season. That's where all the money is. Like, in fact, even financially, because we still don't know where the takeover is. We've spoken about it a week back. We are here, and we still don't know what's happening to the club. So if you need some money to come in, it needs to come in from qualification from the Champions League, definitely.
Mm. But do you guys think this team is ready for Champions League? The other day, I was just thinking about, like, I think it was, of course, on the back of the two bad results, and I was like, are we even ready for the Champions League yet, or would it be, I don't know, like, better for us to maybe, I don't know, win a Europa League one season and then make it to the Champions League via that route, instead of, like, top four, and then we qualify next year, and then we get battered maybe in the group stages or whatever, and then, like, things become worse from that. Like, what do you guys think of, like, that scenario? Do you guys think we are ready as a team, or we will be ready?
we aren't ready. Yeah, like obviously we're not ready as a team yet. Sorry, Ari, go ahead. We're
Yeah.
not ready as a team yet to compete in the Champions League. But keen that is that we should be playing the Champions League. One, there's a financial side of it where that helps us earn the revenue to be able to spend out. Otherwise, we struggle with financial fair play, and Europa League obviously doesn't cut it for that. Other thing is obviously attracting talent. So for us to compete in the Champions League, we need to be in the Champions League so that we can attract the players who want to compete in the Champions League. So there's a bit of a catch-22 situation. Also, the Champions League is expanding. There are more teams there. So, I don't know how that plays out, but we should be in that competition right now, either way. And Europa League would feel like a massive letdown now that the 48 teams or whatever, however many, like, I don't know, zillion teams are in the Champions League. And then you're like, okay, you're getting not so good teams here. Um, I also feel like even if we don't compete, the rhythm of playing on Tuesday, Wednesdays is a much better rhythm than playing on Thursdays and then hitting the weekend. Just the scheduling of a Europa League is really, really tiring. And I can see that the whole season, right? United have played these Europa League games and it really showed. um, I don't know what it is. It just breaks your week exactly into half, and it ruins it. And then you're traveling to these places which isn't you're not traveling to Madrid or Barcelona or something like that. I know we went to Sevilla like about multiple times, but essentially you'd start going into all these other places of Europe, and I don't think that keeps you in a very good spirit of being able to do so. It's also an annoying game, right? Like at best, the only success in Europa League is not getting to semi-final or quarter-final or final, is winning
Final,
it, right? Like
you win
Ole
it.
got us to a final, we didn't win it. That's failure. It's a bit like PSG's, league. You don't win it, there's no point. And to me, Champions League gives you more success metrics. You can see how well you do, whether you qualify to the pre-quarters, you qualify to the semis. I think all of those are success metrics that can be built into and will attract more players subsequently going like, hey, this team is this good, I can take them forward. You look at what City have done. It's them. Earlier, they weren't looking like they'd win it. They had a strong team, but now they look like one of the strongest teams, and that's taken years of just being in the Champions League to get there. So I think um, I do have a sort of little point on it, which is that if we started the season, let's say we just go back to the second game right after we've lost to Brentford, and you heard that the Premier League table with 4 games to go, is it? Yeah, 4 games to go, would be a point ahead of Liverpool with a game in hand in fourth, and that's the last 4 games left. These particular games, I think we'd have taken it. We'd be super excited about it. So I
Sure.
think it perhaps needs the United players to refocus and go like, you know what, this is a really good position we're in. Let's now get our season running now. We don't have any other distraction. We don't have Europa League. We don't have anything. Even the FA Cup, fuck it right now. Just think about this each game, 4 games, and that can define your Champions League. And I think United would have bit your hand off. The players would have bit your hands off after 2 games if we would have said that. So they should now put that effort in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do that. Like the way I see it, I definitely think we are not yet ready for Champions League, but we need to get there. So first we qualify for Champions League, and second is we go and reinforce our squad to be able to play that kind of football. And I think the current team which is there just needs a number nine. I definitely think it needs a number nine. I I think it also needs a goalkeeper to compete with Dagia. He needs that push. And while I say that, I think it's probably these two that can fix the entire squad, according to me. And why I say reinforcements, you need reinforcements for people to come on and play that odd game, and or come on as a sub and make an impact. We don't have players that come out as a sub and make an impact. Fred's the one that comes on and scores a few goals here and there, but other than that, we do not have any impact players at all in the team. So that is it, which is required, I guess, to get inside and compete with Champions League. But I think the other thing that I feel that we're just ready to compete in the Champions League is just because of Eric Ten Hag. Um, I don't think he's the type of a person who goes like, I am ready. Like, this team is ready. You know, I can make them get them ready in a week. We'll go and lose the first match, maybe 5-0 in the UCL next season. But the second game, we're winning it 1-0, or we're having a 0-all draw. So I believe that he's the kind of a manager that can uh, get this team ready, just because his mentality is that he's a winner and he is ready for the big stages. He loves the big stages. So that's my take. Yeah, but we are not ready yet.
Great. I agree with both of what you guys are saying, and like I think now you guys both made fair points that maybe it's like just getting there itself would be a boost to players, and as you said, the financial uh, incentive is uh, perfect, and it also helps us attract better quality players to the club, as everybody wants to play in the Champions League. That makes absolute sense. I think you guys also touched upon the fact that we've been like really wasteful in front of goal. Like we make those big chances, but we don't
Yeah.
seem to be able to finish them. And like I think if Rashford took every chance that he made, we would be sitting here and having a different debate regarding Erling Haaland and Marcus Rashford, because like time and again he gets himself into a position to score, but then he just doesn't have the
Yeah.
ruthlessness of an Erling Haaland, who doesn't take as many touches, who doesn't dribble past as many players, but seems to find a way to put the ball at the back of the net. And I think another very important, I think I agree with Ori in the sense that we definitely need to look at our goalkeeping situation,
Yeah.
which basically brings us to our next topic, which is our giant goalkeeping issue. So David De Gea has had one of the weirdest seasons I think I have ever seen anyone have, where he has kept the most clean sheets and he has most errors leading to goals at the same time. How do you guys explain this?
I let Arya go first because he's a massive Dahlia fan.
No, okay, fine. I'm going to do this because
Yes.
um, I, amongst the three of us, right, I
Yeah.
have been a goalkeeper at whatever school level
Yeah.
or, like we've
True.
played that.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very strange position to play at, right? Any mistake leads to a goal. So errors, if you look at those errors leading to goals, we haven't checked out the errors that Marcus Rashford has led to missing goals. We haven't
True.
seen the errors that Maguire made that didn't lead to goals, right? So
Yeah.
it's a very strict position to play at. And the other side of this is all the other players are playing on their feet. So your mind is quite clear. So when I play outfield, it's really clear. My mind is absolutely open into knowing that everything has to happen there, right? There's a lot of clarity about your body's movement, if you like. As a keeper, there used to be a clarity that you just have to save the ball. That's it. Nothing else matters. Just save the ball. Don't parry it into opposition. It's gotten more complicated, and sure that doesn't lead to that goal that he's let in or something going from the near post. But what it does is it clutters a keeper's mind. And I know this because I started playing a lot more where I hold the ball, pass it out, and do those things. And I realized that what it does is it builds you into two minds. There's moments where you're like, I have to save this, but no, I need to kick it or I need to pass it, because right now the idea is not just to hold the ball and slow down the game. The idea is the moment the ball's coming here to like reignite the counter attack, and that's what De Gea is kind of trying to evolve into. There will be errors. There will be errors. He's coached really well by strong coaching side, and I'm sure there will be errors constantly that will happen when you're trying to do this with a player like him. But he's had five-a-side football grounding. He's played cage football. He understands it. He isn't bad with his feet. He's just not confident with it. I also feel like he just doesn't entirely always know where to pass that ball. Remember, he's played what 500 odd games for Man United already, and um, in 490 of them, he's never had to bother about this. And suddenly, there's a manager who comes in and says, "Bro, you got to pass it out. You need to, you look at when we're chasing a game, right? 1-0 down to West Ham, 92nd minute, with 2 more minutes to go in added time or whatever, and West Ham clear it. Now, when West Ham cleared that ball across a half line against Man City, Edison's just picked it up and passed it back out to whatever the attacking half. Here, if I'm not wrong, Fred or someone had to just swivel back in, pick up the ball, turn
Yep.
around, and game changes, slows it down. But on the other hand, the Gea is constantly thinking that if I'm over there, someone could score all the way across, and they could. It will happen to the here. It just won't happen to Edison as much. And we've seen the same errors pop up with Allison. Allison has had those errors as well. It just looks better because that team can score. Or the moment suddenly, you start looking at whether Robertson is doing well, or you look at Trent Alexander-Arnold are doing well. But honestly, Allison was making those errors at that point. So goalkeeping and playing at your feet is a really specialized skill. So unless we have someone who can compete on that front, I think De Gea is a fucking fantastic keeper, and we should persist with him. I think what it might need, and this is where I think I'd love to know Ayan's opinion also on it, but I think what it needs is a little more clearing of the mind to make these things become a habit. And I don't think that can happen halfway through a season. I think that needs to happen now. Ten Hag has said that this is my guy. Don't give him another guy who's looking over his shoulder. I'm going contrary to the transfer strategy that Ari is saying. Uh, Let him have that space and tell him, this is what I want you to do. You will get better. Clear the long balls when it's required. This is when you lay the short ball. This is when you make that pass. Over the course of 2 seasons, De Gea is an intelligent keeper. He will get better, but it is a complicated position and it's not easy. It's also very isolating because you're there, stuck there. for much of the game you're doing fuck all, and then suddenly one guy's kicked it from there, and you've moved a second later. Like De Gea was backtracking, and then he moved a second later on the right. He fell down, and the ball just like he slices over. It happens. It's just a kind of unnatural thing. But at the same time, those clean sheets tell you that there is enough in there to give you hope that this can work out.
Yeah. I, I, I well, fair point. Ori, you have anything to add on any opposing view to add to this? Because that will be interesting.
Oh, I've I he's a fantastic shot stopper, and for me it ends there. Now, uh, I will come at it at a lot of different angles, exactly to what you said here. Uh, First, he's played 500 odd games for United. He's won Player of the Season for many years. He's basically kept us as Manchester United during the times that we've not really performed. But while I say that, uh, he's 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 played a lot of games. He's played 500 odd games. So to come back to the point where you goes that it's in the middle of the season and not in the middle of the season anymore. Played 34 games. Yeah. If 34 games you cannot improve your passing, you're the highest paid goalkeeper and almost the highest paid player at United. You can have the best coaching facility behind you, but then it's about you putting that in. So that's one point. And the second point of un- understanding that it's a position which is very, very isolated. Actually, I'm going to say this and I'm going to compare it with something else, which we were just having a chat a few days back about Naomi Osaka. And I bring this in because Naomi Osaka decided not to play the game for many reasons. And absolutely, I love her to bits. Very Akash line. I love her to bits. But what makes or breaks you to be the person to be remembered or to be a top athlete is not letting your mind get cluttered, is not letting somebody pity you for whatever you're going through. Because I don't think some of those top guys ever want somebody to tell you that I pity you. You come and they will come and tell you this is what your problem is, and that's what you need to sort it out. And you've got a whole season with me, and we are all there to sort it out for you. And absolutely, we give the David Daghia gets one more season, 100%. Yeah, and the only reason he gets one more season is because he's just a freaking amazing shot stopper. Yeah, point blank, there is very few goalkeepers who have that kind of reflexes. It is absolutely incredible. And while he's very bad with his legs in terms of distribution, he is absolutely incredible with his legs when it comes to stopping shots. He knows where exactly to put the far leg out. He knows exactly when to bring the near leg in to stop a shot that goes right beside you. Uh, but the only way right now, I take all of these points into consideration. The only way for him to go forward is to declutter mind by having somebody not as good as him maybe, but somebody who can push him. Uh, I feel that's the best way to kind of improve. It's the best way to even clear your mind because then suddenly you're not like you're training with Jack Butland and you're training with I don't know
Tom
like
Heaton.
Tom Heaton. Like you're training with keepers who who've not done really anything. You bring on a young keeper on board. Yeah, it's almost like Kepa and Mendy. Yeah, two really fantastic young keepers just competing against each other. Now, maybe that is what is required in United to bring Daghia back to where he wants to be. Or the other very simple option is not it's not a simple option. It is an option that is a very ruthless option, which the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool took. We need to stop goals. You need to win leagues. You sometimes need your goalkeepers to give 3 assists. Yeah, Allison probably has 2 assists under his name. Edison probably has 3 assists under his name in this whole season. You need your keeper to be that fast, that quick, to read. Actually, he is the person who technically dictates sometimes the pace of the game from the back. You stand high up or you stand wherever you stand to dictate your last line of defense. Your defense feels secure because you are up there. It has to be the other way around also. Like, it's not that my defense is going to sort my clean sheets and will be a help to me, but you standing 3 steps up lets your defense go, I can play an extra ball back, and not play an extra ball back and then make my wing back run on the other side because my goalkeeper is not coming out. So while I play this extra ball, I also pull an extra player back. Okay, I've gone lots into all the possibilities of why we are not kind of also pressing is also because of our goalkeeper. So David Dakia, definitely he gets one more season, but he he doesn't need to be replaced because it's very difficult to even right now find a young keeper who can do something like that. Because you what do you replace? Like, you replace somebody with a young person or somebody who's maybe 2 3 years younger than David Gaggia who can carry on for the next 6 7 years, right? You're building for a club. You've just signed Garnacho on. You've got Rashford. You're looking for young players. So who do you go and get? Like, the only person that you go and get is go and get Donnarumma, but that's not really happening. Uh, or there's nobody else really that you go and get. Like, Oblak is no, not right now. 3 years back, yeah, made sense. Right now, no. Keep David Dakhya. He's just going to get better and better if he can get better. Now, it's two ways. You can have best coaches, but your application to kind of do that. Just see the game that we lost against Brighton on penalties. Brighton played their second choice keeper. Yeah. Their second choice keeper had better position of the ball. In fact, their second choice keeper dictated their game from the back. Our three strikers didn't know what was going on. They played deep, far back, near their goal. Rashford and Bruno were just running across. And that is uh, intelligence, of course, but that is team tactics. It's not like, so right now we almost play like David Ragya, and then we got the whole kind of unit that's working together. But he needs to be part of that unit. If we are to play a style of football that Eric Ten Hag wants to play, I think all players kind of need. If you've dropped Harry Maguire, the club captain, because he can't do what is required of him, well, David Daghia can have some competition and can have a good keeper that comes in to compete. Man, for all I care, if Kepa is the first choice in Chelsea and Mendy is not playing, go and buy Mendy. He's a good shot stopper. He's just a good young player, and he's going to give Daghia all that competition. Like, don't send David Daghia to play in one Champions League game in the middle of, I don't know, somewhere. Send Mendy. Let him get on to understand what it is like. So then you make a mistake. It's exactly like what Sir Alex would do with players, not only with keepers, with any players. You made a mistake, you pay for that mistake. And paying for that mistake is very simple. Is you sit one game out and somebody else comes into that place and performs. So maybe the only way out is competition. So but I'd keep David Daghia. I'm a big fan of David Daghia. I really like him. Yeah.
I think we are all on the same page about keeping him. And anyway, like, I think they're going to offer him a new contract anyway. So
Yes.
like,
Yes.
we probably will see one more season of David De Gea for sure. But coming back to the points that both of you made, right? And like, the way I look at it is that I remember when David De Gea first signed for United, right? I don't know if you guys remember, like, we had a
Yeah.
torrid time at some point
Yes.
getting goalkeepers. Like, we had
Yeah.
Andres Lingard, we had
Basically,
Carroll.
after
Barthez,
Barthez, after
Roy
Yeah,
Barthez, we
Carroll,
had
after Barthez,
Tim Howard.
Howard.
yeah,
Yeah, we had some really shit
Yeah.
keepers for a long time, right? And
Yeah.
then we finally got Van der Sar from Fulham, and that
Yes.
kind of like that kind of made it okay for a bit. And Van der Sar was amazing for us. And then when David De Gea signed, I remember, like, teams would just shoot from far because
Yes.
he was just horrible at dealing with the ball in the air, kind of thing, right? And
and
He
the
let in a very
crosses,
like,
the
similar go at,
crosses.
at the FA Shield.
yes,
Yes,
exactly.
The
Yeah,
first
yeah,
game he
yeah.
played. Yeah.
Right. And and I don't know about you guys, but in around that time, I thought, okay, this guy is never going to make it for us, right? Because he looked lanky, he looked scared, he looked nervous, like everything that you don't want in a person, like in your keeper to be. He had he
Yeah.
had all those traits, but then he goes on to play 500 odd
Yeah.
games for us. Uh, so if that is anything to go by, I believe like the guy has it in him to develop uh, you know
Mm.
like new skills. Now whether that's going to translate into him becoming better with his feet, I don't know. I have like really no idea. I hope it does, because like reason dictates that yes, he has done it before. He was shit, with dealing with balls in the air, but he did get better. So much so that now people almost forget like what he was initially, right? Like now you trust him to uh,
Mm.
save like things that most other people wouldn't even dream of saving. So there is a possibility that he gets better. And to be fair, like I mean, he does have the most clean sheets this season. And when he's played with a better backline, he has looked a bit more like, I think when Licha plays in
Yeah.
that defense, I think David De Gea is a bit more calm. David De Gea is a bit more sure. Like he has a couple of more outlets
Mm.
than when Licha doesn't play, and he's like not sure whom to pass the ball. He tries to look for a pass on the wing. He doesn't find Sancho. He doesn't find Rashford, and we kind of keep losing possession, and then that adds pressure. And then we find ourselves in this situation where uh, any small mistake he makes gets super scrutinized as well. So I can see both sides of this thing, and but I agree with both of you that we are definitely going to see him for one more season. But I also I'm with Ori in the sense that I think we are going to sign another keeper, uh, like as backup for sure. Now I don't know if it's going to be Mendy or not. I think we were linked with the Croatian goalkeeper, right? This
Yes. Yeah.
Livarkovic,
Yeah.
I think his name is.
Yeah.
He looked pretty good in
He
the
had a
World Cup.
fantastic World Cup too. Yeah.
Yeah, he had
Yeah.
a good World Cup. Uh, I don't mind Sevilla goalkeeper either. Like I think his name is
Oh, he's good.
Bono.
Bono.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bono.
You too.
So
You
you
too.
too. Yeah, you too think he could be interesting. He could, and there are a bunch of other goalkeepers
Yeah.
around. Uh, just to let you guys know, also like
Okay.
we have the academy player Radek Vitek also, who's sitting,
Yeah.
in the back. I don't know how good he is, or
Yeah.
whether Ten Hag
Most
can.
typically, most typically Ayan pick ever. We have an academy guy. We should just
We
play
do, we
him over
do.
here.
We do. No, I mean, like, I loved what the manager said about Kobe Mainu as well, because
Yes.
I was thinking about it last week after our chat about a DM, right? And like, for me, that was the perfect hint that, he wants to develop that kid in the midfield, and he believes that he has seen something in that. So, no, anytime you can, you develop an academy player, it kind of also helps in our finances. It also helps, like, even if they don't turn out great for us and we can sell them and turn them around as
Yeah.
good players, uh,
Yeah.
like that could work. Like if I think about it, the United players or the people from our academy all around the league, like you take Wilfred Zaha, you take uh, Keane,
Welbeck.
Everton defender Michael
Yeah.
Keane, Welbeck.
Danny Welbeck.
They, yeah, they all do
Herrera.
pretty. Yeah, they all do pretty well for other teams
Yeah.
in the Premier League, right? Like when they don't
Yeah.
have that pressure to be the absolute top of the charts, top,
Mm.
uh, they end up doing okay. It's just that we are trying. Our standards in our club are like good is not good enough. So
Yeah.
you can be good, but we need you to be great at this club. And so
Yeah.
if we follow that blueprint, then I think David De Gea doesn't have that long to like prove himself, uh, to be able to make this change. So if he doesn't get it going, I don't know, within the next 10 games of the next season, uh, I'd be surprised if he's still starting. Like Ten Hag is not one for keeping people who are not starting, no matter how much he likes them, no matter how much he praises them. If they're not working,
They're not
he
working.
will, yeah, he will bench them. I think he's
Yeah.
same thing happened with Anthony Martial not starting. I think versus West Ham. He praised him a
Yeah,
lot. He said he's great, number 9, this, that. He didn't perform. That's it. Weghorst
yeah,
came in and started.
yeah.
So I I I really trust Ten Hag to make these decisions, and like even like the way he has managed these two losses, right? Like everyone thought like they're going to
Yeah.
start running again, but instead they've gotten 2 days off,
Hmm.
which is which is actually very interesting to think about, right? Because like he would have identified that maybe there is something different this time that wasn't there or that wasn't the case after Brentford. That time they needed a kick up their backside. Now they maybe need some rest. So
Yeah.
we will see how this kind of works out for us, because we really need to bounce back, especially the way I think like if we have to follow any blueprint, I think Arsenal have an excellent blueprint this season of how to put pressure on a title race, right?
Yeah.
And
Sorry, one
that
second
thing.
before you
Yes,
before you
please,
segue
please.
into that, I have a couple of
Yes,
points on things.
let's
The
go.
hair thing, I think what you guys mentioned, there was some interesting things. That's kind of made me change a perspective on it.
Yeah,
More than when you think of another goalkeeper as competition, I see your point. I'm not always in favor of that, and I see that grooming an academy players is definitely a better idea. But I think also, like how you have different midfielders for different situations. De Gea is a great fucking shot stopper. He should be
Yeah.
playing those games when you play against an opposition that sits deep. Honestly, because he's going to, and you tell him, look, you can take a couple of steps forward. It's a little more, but all I need is those 10 moments, those 3 moments in a game when someone shoots, just save them. Mind is uncluttered, play that game. That's all you need to do. That is your role. Whereas when you get into a game where you need the keeper to play with his feet, get good distribution, let's get another guy who's just doing that. That guy doesn't need to make insane saves, because what you're doing is you're actually holding possession. You're playing the game a lot more. You're not giving the ball away. Also, when the other team is pressing, like Brighton, De Gea is not going to do that ever, right? You need a person with distribution. You need a person. So the other team is not pressing, is sitting back. You can have the Gea. If you don't have a person sitting back, you don't. Other thing I think that you guys pointed out, which I thought Ari pointed out, which was really interesting, is Martinez. Sorry, Ayan, you pointed out Licha. Licha is an interesting case. Actually, our whole season is kind of, it's not about Casemiro, it is about Licha. He's not played, we struggled. And that it's not about the defense
Hmm.
alone, it's just plainly that De Gea is not a leader. Lindelof is not a leader. Shaw is not a leader. Malasia, Dalo, none of them are leaders. Licha is the only leader in defense. When he doesn't play, our team doesn't look as strong. Varane is not a leader
True
either.
that.
So the moment you have Maguire, Varane, De Gea, they're confused. Nobody has a clarity of going, fuck you, I'm telling you, do this. Licha kind of does, and does it in a way that brings it all together. So I kind of feel like De Gea's performance improves when he doesn't have to think. It's not a great thing. You're right. That doesn't make you an elite sportsman, or well, world class, top level in the world. But it's still it's worth thinking about, because what you're trying to do is trying to make that team better in the most sustainable way possible. And in that, having a young goalkeeper could be Mendy, could be someone else. But rather than have someone who can do what De Gea can do and compete with him, get someone who does something completely different, so that our team actually has a lot more balance and possibilities and tactical
Yeah.
options given to Ten Hag. Sorry, that's it from me on that. Ari had
I'm going to
something.
add. I'm going to add
yeah,
two
yeah.
points.
Please,
It's
please.
a. Um, Tell me the last time David De Gea actually collected the ball. Yeah, we United is a team that is just brutal when we are on the fast break, right?
Yeah.
So a team that's brutal on the fast break needs their goalkeeper sometimes to pick up a ball and just lob it and just throw it. Tell me the last time you saw David De Gea throw a ball.
I will tell you, because I observed it as being super rare. This match against West Ham, late second half, he threw one ball out on the left flank to Bruno Fernandes, right? Bruno fucked it up. But then Bruno
Yeah,
turned around and clapped because he was like, wow, this guy did it. But it is so fucking rare. But you're
so
right.
fucking rare. Yeah.
It is very
Now
rare.
when Now, when Van der Sar was on, if you remember, I remember there was this one game. He collects the ball, and the striker comes running to him, and he just wants to get rid of it. He's like, "We are attacking." He does a dunk over the striker. He has the ball, and he just does, "Huh,"
Yeah,
Yeah.
just throws it over that guy's head, and he's like, "Attack! Let's go!"
Yeah.
So while again, all of this. Now, if we are going to play a counter pressing, counter attacking football, you need somebody to just take it and release it to a Marcus Rashford. And you need this to happen not once in a game, but at least 5 times in a game. So
Yeah.
then suddenly you've then the opposition defense is not looking for a Bruno to make that pass, because that pass is coming all the way back from your goal to the half line. Yeah, that was
I need
so.
that
It's
pass
really
needs to.
rare to see. Yeah,
No, you're right. That pass needs to have intent. That's what I feel about the here.
correct.
90% of his passes
No
aren't
urgency.
intent. It's just
Mm.
Yeah,
getting out of that situation. So he's just
yeah,
moving the ball on while not fucking up, right? Whereas
absolutely.
actually, when you look at Edison, you look at even the guy that you said, Brighton, and even the main keeper. Oh, it just eludes me right now. But they ping the ball in.
David
It's
Raya.
intent. Sanchez, isn't it?
Sanchez. Sorry, you're
Sanchez
right.
is the first keeper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sanchez is their first
They
keeper.
Yeah, so they ping it out. They actually
yeah,
kick it into that position. Edison kicks it in the air to that position. The throws
yeah.
are not. So even the hair's throw to Bruno wasn't a bad throw that I saw, but it felt like I'm letting it go there. Whereas an actual good throw would be flat onto his feet,
Flat
and if he's on
intent.
his feet and
Yeah,
like get out there and score a goal. I
yeah,
want a keeper
okay.
to project that confidence,
Yeah,
because that then pushes that game forward. He doesn't have that, which is what Lisandro Martinez has as a defender, which a lot of other defenders in United don't.
correct.
Lindelof has great passing range, but does not pass with such intent. Varane also not as much, but
No.
Casemiro, Martinez, when they pass, they just hit the ball at you and tell you
Yeah,
get on with it. And I think that urgency manifests itself in all the attacking play as well.
yep.
Absolutely. I totally
Sorry,
agree with. No, no,
oh, yeah,
the
I know we went on with this even though you had
no,
already
no,
done
no,
this.
no, no. These are actually they are very valid points, and I'm glad like you guys brought up Edison, and I would have added even Ramsdale into the mix of that because I think he's been
Yeah.
absolutely
Valid, valid.
epic,
Yeah,
epic this
sensational.
season.
What a keeper.
Yeah, and he
What a
has
player.
basic
What a player.
exactly, and he's basically kept Arsenal's hopes alive, and that can
Yeah.
also take us to our next segment where
Way to
yes,
copy strike us right up front.
which takes us basically to our Arsenal and City showdown,
Yeah.
and the way Arsenal has bounced back, after getting bludgeoned by City 4-1 is something that I didn't think would happen, and now that City have a few more games to play and they need to win all their games to win, like, is there still hope for Arsenal to come back and win the title? What do you guys
It's
think?
I oh wait, I'll no, Ari, why don't you go first on
No,
this? I think
that's it. Bottle. Bottling it up.
Ah,
No,
uh,
definitely. They've bounced back, but it's. I think it's too late. I think those three draws just kill their season. They've been
mm,
absolutely fantastic. They deserve the title, but you don't win it until you actually. It's just top mentality. I think it's the players. I think also Arteta probably got a few tactics wrong in those 3 games. I don't know why Jorginho didn't really, uh, you know, really take part in those 3 games. You
he
got
was
him on
so good.
exactly for this season, and for
He's
this
so
particular
good.
reason. He's so good.
Yeah. This
He's
last game he
just
was
so good.
just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
yeah.
So I don't know. Like I feel bad for the Arsenal fans. I saw like they've been just all over the season, and then suddenly they're going like, we believe, and I'm like, yeah, okay, believe, keep believing, but nah, I think it's City's. The title is completely, and they are on a roll, and I don't know if the Champions League is going to affect um, their title race or not, but even the game that they played last night was just. I mean, Real were good, but so were Man City. Uh, yeah, they look a really, really strong team, and for whatever reason, uh, this City team doesn't really have an established star, which is a nice thing. But yeah, they're Man City, so it's stupid. But if you look at the team, when Sergio Aguero was there, at least he was a star. Sergio Aguero was a legend. De Bruyne, he is a fantastic player, but he doesn't get that kind of a treatment within his club. He doesn't start some games. That's because Pep thinks he is not cut out for that game. So this is a it's a very mechanical team that's got all these parts. It's like a little Formula One car that, depending on the slope and the wind and the rain, they go change the tires to sleeks to mediums or change the aerodynamics. It is absolutely crazy how they function at a club as a club, and I think this they're just too well oiled to drop this. I think they've done it. They've done it way too many times. Pep's just way too good a manager to get his team going, especially in these kind of situations. But what Arsenal and Arteta are doing, I think again with some really smart signings this season, I think they'll be back next season, and not only back, maybe they might actually just go out and take this lead all across, like in the sense, not really drop points in the first 10, 15 games of the season. You know, go on a 25, 21, 24 game points winning streak, and that's it. You've got it after that.
I so while I don't, sorry, I've switched it. While I don't believe that City would really bottle it, I don't think I realistically believe they would bottle it right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think I agree with you. Arsenal have played great football all season, but there is a mentality that makes you win titles,
yeah,
and for whatever it is, they don't have it. Arteta doesn't have it. All of those players, you don't have. Maybe Jorginho probably is one of those rare guys who probably has that mentality of winning a title.
mm,
From Erdegaard, he's never won anything yet. Martinelli's never won anything really, like a league or Champions League. Like I'm talking about a major thing. Um, so to some level, I feel like that is lacking. And when you that sort of a team makes the effort that they've made this season, and let's say they finish the season just 1 or 2 points behind City and don't win the title, I don't know what kind of an impact that has on the players. Recruitment, sure, that is helpful, but this is a team. This team is good enough to win a title, right? And they've given it their all. They've given it emotion, effort, you know,
yeah,
sweat and tears. And then after that, how do you do that next season? You saw Liverpool struggle with that, and Liverpool are a title-winning team. And then they've just suffered because they put everything on the table and didn't win anything last season. Not winning anything, and I know we are going to talk about this a bit later, but not winning anything can really, really affect a whole team. You almost go like, oh, this was it. That was the time. You start questioning whether you can ever get back there because City is not going to get weaker either. United are going to get stronger. Liverpool aren't going to have the season they just had.
yeah.
So this is Chelsea are rarely going to have the kind of crap season they've had, unless they can keep Frank Lampard somehow. Um, so you and Brighton are getting better. Spurs should get better at some point. So this season they were not fortunate, but it was a bit more Leicester-like, right? Where none of the other major teams, apart from City, have done well enough. So it's a two-horse race. They were ahead. They had a good lead. All they had to do is maintain it. The
Mm,
body language of the players when they drew the game before they played Man City was very telling. And I remember mentioning it. That was our first episode. I don't know. I think you know that you just beat City and you win the title. You take it any day,
yeah,
right? And might be pumped up to beat City at Etihad, but they looked so deflated. It was still in their hands, and now after that, the next game it showed. They just could not turn up at Etihad. That was the worst game I've seen Arsenal really come up with. So I don't know if there's a possibility of maintaining it, and I think right now they will still give their all. And the other side of this is the balance of City season kind of depends on this, right? City are 3 losses away from having a trophy-less season, and they are 3 wins or whatever, 6, 7 games away from having
yeah.
a treble season. Like, it's that close. That's the fine margins, right? Like, if Real somehow eke out a win at City, which is possible, very likely, City drop one game in the Premier League, which is again likely, or two games. They'll have to drop two games, but that is also possible, right? It's not outside the realm of possibility. And United could beat them in the FA Cup final. And suddenly, City have a trophy last season. Arsenal just get one trophy. It's just such fine margins. No one's run away with it, which I've kind of enjoyed, because as a fan, you kind of see that competition. You see that team pushing further. You see, so what I mean is, like, when you see Manchester City, a team that is so well oiled, so well drilled, like a machine, suddenly have to dig deep
Yeah.
again in the league against a team that's so built on heart and passion and great method, but so much passion like Arsenal. It's fun. It's great competition, and a part of me, not a part of me, every part of me really wants Arsenal to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
There's no part of me that wants City to win. I want City. I want De Bruyne to slip up. I want Haaland to, get a red card in the next game, and then keep booing them forever, and we make fun of them and laugh about it, and then they lose to Real Madrid and United beat them. That'd be perfect season for me. I don't even care. I mean, the rest doesn't matter. But yeah, so but I don't see that happening, unfortunately, to answer your
Yeah.
question.
No
That's
Champions League for them,
very
but come on.
Yeah, yeah. Let's hope that at least.
that's very very interesting. But I will take a different. I'll take a different approach to both of you on this. I'll say maybe they will draw another game and invite some pressure on them. Now, whether that is because they are distracted by what might happen in the Champions League or not, I don't know. But something tells me that they're going to have another draw in the league within some of these games, and then we'll see what Arsenal I feel like will have another chance to bottle it up again. Like now, whether that's going to be like on the last day or one of the weeks before that, I'm not sure. But I'm going to take a chance, and I'm going to say City are going to have at least one small hiccup before at least in the league. In the Champions League, I really don't know what's going to happen, because every time I bet against Real Madrid, and every time they come out and pull something out of the bag, like when they don't even look like, they
Yeah.
like, every time I feel like, oh, this City team should steamroll this Real Madrid team. And then I see like all the things that I know about football, right? Like where 37-year-olds and 38-year-olds shouldn't be looking the way they look against that City midfield, which is like, firing on all cylinders. And yet Luka Modric and Toni Kroos, like they make it look like a joke. Like they make it look like, 38-year-olds, you're in the prime of your career and you should be able to play till you're 40. So it's a very strange situation where some of the midfielders that we look at, they start looking leggy, and then I look at these two playing and I'm like, how are how is a Croatian dude and a German dude who's wearing old shoes for the last 10 years, like, even competing, even like, keeping the ball against this team? Because when we play them, it's like it doesn't matter who you play, like we just don't stand that kind of chance.
Yeah,
So it's very confusing watching Real Madrid play, because every time I'm left wondering, like, what do I even know
Yeah.
about age and things like this, because they just seem to keep defying everything. So sure, they have Vinicius, their front line is like super young and dynamic, and you know they are very very dangerous from like absolutely nowhere. They look passive for like 30 minutes, and then they will score like the most
Yeah.
unbelievable goal ever. And like then in that goal you would think that they are the most well-oiled team ever, because everybody finds exactly the right touch, the right run, the right finish, and it just works. So maybe there's a case, for that happening with against City somewhere else. Maybe they have another day where you know they might not fire exactly, but it's hard to bet against them. So I understand where both of you are coming from. I wouldn't put money on it, but
They
somewhere
have a
I have
very
to.
their four Premier League games are really tough.
they are.
They've
Yeah,
got Everton.
City could.
They've got yeah.
yeah, they have
Everton,
Everton
Chelsea,
away.
Brighton, Brentford.
Yeah,
Brighton, Brentford are away, so that
Brighton, Brentford,
not going
Everton
to
are
be.
away. and
Yeah, but
that's,
I assume they'll beat Everton.
I don't know. Everton just
Everton
beat
just beat
Brighton
4-0,
5-1.
5-1. Yeah, sorry.
5-1, and no
Yeah,
one's talking about
yeah,
Brighton, collapsing or whatever, because Brighton
yeah.
just won 1-0. Then Brighton ate 5 goals the next day. Any other big team eats 5 goals, it's like meme city. Then
Yeah,
United eat 5 goals, we are memed for the next week and a half
Yeah,
until we
yeah.
come back from that result. But
yeah,
it's the same team that beat United 1-0, with that last minute penalty. They got cut open by Everton. Dwight
yeah.
McNeil scored 2 goals and Doucouré scored 2 goals. Like, it was, and a Sean Dyche team, a
I
Sean
know.
Dyche team scoring 5 goals. Like, it's so crazy what can happen, right? So if that's the kind of, I mean, that's the result that kind of like gave me this idea that maybe you never know what can happen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe Arsenal will have another chance.
You're right. This is between the two Champions League games, and they're playing Everton in the middle of these two Champions League games. It's not going to be easy. It's
Yeah,
not.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah,
exactly. It's tough to keep your focus on, like, what do you focus on? Like, are you going to focus on winning the league? Are you going to focus on winning the Champions League? Are you going to focus, because to me they have to win the Champions League this year. Like,
yeah.
this is the year. This is their year. They have gotten Haaland. They have rotated all their players. They have been to the semi-finals now a bunch of times. They know what it's like. Uh, you know, if you can't get through and you can't win it, then it becomes, then if this year also you can't win it, then we have to start asking some real questions about uh,
About Pep?
you know what's going on at City, because Chelsea have won a Champions League.
Yeah.
About Pep, about the team, Pep, I trust Pep to win it. Like, maybe not with City, if
He's
they
not
don't win
wanting
this
with
year, but
Bayern.
he's not one with Bayern. So yeah. So, like, exactly. So it comes back to, like, yeah, you could ask a lot of interesting questions if they don't win it this year. But of course, it's a fool's bet to bet against them winning
Yeah.
this year. Like, I won't put money on anybody else apart from Madrid, if at all. But if they don't win it, wow, like, I think that's a huge talking point, because uh, this is what they have been building towards. Like, every year, this is the thing that they want. It's like PSG, right? uh,
Yeah.
they also,
The
that
race
the
between
Champions League,
Qatar and UAE.
and exactly that's the crux of the whole uh, situation, which would then take us to the next situation at PSG. What's happening
Let's
at PSG,
go.
guys?
Let's figure it out.
So PSG PSG seems to be in a giant mess with what's
Yeah.
happening there. Any of you care to share your inputs on what exactly is happening?
I so it's this weird situation, right? So I was watching. I've done a little bit of looking into it with reading the Athletic and all of that, and so apparently his camp had asked for that sort of a break to go for this tourism thing that was planned earlier. PSG have this simple thing, which is that if you lose a game, you have a debrief the next day, but if you win, then you have 2 days off, so you can do whatever you like. That was Messi was well aware. His camp says that no, we had already informed, we had already switched it twice, and therefore we did this year. We had to this time around. PSG maintained that well, he was aware of the situation. He should have been there. Um, he should have been there. Your priority cannot be to do Saudi tourism, right? Your priority has to be to play for your club. The teams kept losing, has played terribly. They just lost to, I forget who, some L named team. Again, that's the problem with the French league. I can't remember the teams anymore now. But Leighton or something, they lost 1-0. Lille,
Hmm?
something. No,
I
some
think
really
LOC.
rubbish.
Lille, maybe.
No, they lost to some pretty random team. Anyways, so they lost
Yeah.
1-0, and Lorient, I think. And
Oh, could
then
be.
they haven't. So they obviously, Messi knew when he was traveling out that he was supposed to be there. to prioritize a commercial shoot, no matter what it is, over this, I think that's the right call by PSG. On the other hand, it's it makes you wonder, first of all, about two things. One is he went to Saudi Arabia. Traditionally, Qatar and Saudi Arabia haven't had a very good rapport. Saudi Arabia tried their best to scupper Qatar's bid. After Qatar had won the bid, they tried to make these changes.
Yeah.
They got Infantino involved in trying to make the World Cup perhaps happen in Qatar and Saudi Arabia. They had a little bit of a problem. They didn't let ships and all come through Saudi Arabian waters, so it became much tougher to set up for the World Cup. So maybe it's because he went there specifically. When if he had gone to Doha, would you have done that? If you'd have gone for Doha tourism, would he have been given that time off? Maybe he would have. If he did this for England or Argentina or Spain, maybe again that would have been less of a problem. Maybe a week, maybe a little bit of a thing. He's gone to their country's rivals, I guess, is a bit of a talking point. Messi should have known that as well. Messi's camp really should know that. That's you've joined Qatar. You understand where it is. It also, to me, though, sets a really weird situation. Qatar is a, entity that's looking for Man United. Do we want that mess? Do we want them to give so much power to Mbappe, who still has power? So now, if Mbappe would have gone, can you do that to Mbappe? It's okay to do that to Messi when basically he's been playing. After the World Cup, he played pretty poorly in Liga. PSG aren't doing well, but Mbappe is the face of the project. He's your guy. If he's gone out for 2 days and missed that game, are you really going to do the same thing? Or is it just because there's this guy that we can get rid of and hasn't signed a new contract, so this is a good way to put that pressure on him and get him out of the club and go like, hey, look, it's not our fault. He's just disobedient. Something that Messi's never done in his career is being completely disobedient. Why wasn't he allowed to go the previous 2 times? Because if PSG are losing, I mean, Neymar seems to go for partying all the time. It was fine until now. It's not tolerated, but now it's not tolerated because both of them are irrelevant. So if you're a superstar who's really important, we care about you. We'll make you director of football for that matters. But if you don't really like you, I don't care how much of a legend is it, how much you need that time for whatever it is. I'm not going to give that respect. And to me, that sets a very weird situation. It sounds fine on the surface, what they've done with Messi in this particular situation, but it doesn't tie in with the whole narrative of how Qatar have, or Sheikh Jassim, not Sheikh Jassim, their...
The Qatar group.
Yeah.
the Qataris have run PSG. I find this, honestly, give Messi a week off. The league doesn't matter. You're still going to win. It's still going to be a crap season. And PSG is not really an actual football club that's doing anything of value. And therein lies a much greater problem with Ligue 1, which is when you have a rich business owner that has bought out the thing and there is no real competition, there is no success. The only success exists if you win the Champions League, which is such a fine margin, so impossibly tough that no matter what you do at PSG, you'll be a failure. And Messi is not, I mean, looking at the fans, the PSG fans have been booing Messi. What does he owe them? But what does he owe to improve that team? They won the league. What more do you do? You won't play perfect every week. Week in, week out can't be perfect, right? You know that. I just think it's shambolic how that whole thing has played out. And it's good for Messi. He gets a way out. It's good for PSG. They get a way out. But I definitely do not want the guys who run a football club like that anywhere close to my football club, for what counts there. Because you can't bring geopolitics. That's the problem with state-run clubs. It becomes geopolitical, right? Like this is about Qatar, Saudi Arabia's issues. This is not. It's not Messi coming to India for 2 days in Qatar. Being, I don't care. So no, I'm not. It's made red flags go up in my head for the Qatari bid more than anything else. This whole thing playing out.
Although just one, like, quickly before we continue this serious discussion, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you guys think of the rumors that he went to watch Cristiano play in Saudi Arabia?
I mean,
it's like a
7.
high 9 for me. Okay, 7's pretty good. 7's pretty good.
yeah, sure. 8 gave a chest.
8
There was a
8
of
8.
chest before that. Cristiano's been crap there, by the way, right? He's not played well for us. I think this weekend when Messi might have been there, he had 8 shots, 0 goals, 0 assists. They lost or they drew 1-1.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe
it was terrible, but
maybe Al Nasser are looking to replace Cristiano with Messi.
with Messi.
With Messi. Oh,
They
this
need
I
a
love this.
competition, right? You need
Yeah,
competition
you
for
heard it here,
spots. Yeah,
Yeah,
guys. You
yeah.
heard it here first, huh? On VAR of Words, we came up with this first. So just before anyone takes credit for this, I'm just gonna claim it as our thing. We broke this story before anybody else that Messi was there to
Imagine
replace
if they play a
Cristiano.
whole season. Imagine if they play a whole season, right? And they have Messi and Ronaldo somehow, and they just never play them together. They always get like,
No.
one guy replay. They just play in the same position, so they keep
impact
replacing
sub.
them.
Yeah,
Who is
Oh,
better? And at the end of it, the guy who's done better. So you give each of them one half in each game all through the season and never play them together, and then you go debate decided. I mean, I'll watch every game of Al Nasser then just to know who's going.
right, right. How
And
crazy was that?
and you get 2-3 Barca guys in, so that whole lineup comes in when Messi is there. You get 2-3 of Ronaldo's guys in, so Ronaldo's team plays the first half, Messi's team plays the second half.
Messi still second
Oh,
See
half.
who scores more goals. Man, I don't care about Saudi league. I think it's a crap league. I don't think the level of football is anywhere near what it needs to be, and I think it's complete PR bullshit. But I'd
Yeah,
watch that PR bullshit over what is happening right now. It's really boring to watch it. It's absolutely disgustingly terrible. I mean, MLS is shit, but it's better than this.
they have
massive
more
Sorry, I
disagreement.
really
locusts
ranted.
coming to
I
the
really
stadium
blamed
than fans.
Sorry.
They have more locust insects coming to the stadium than fans, than real people.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious, guys. Oh my
it,
goodness.
it does feel at times like you are it's in the middle of a desert, so it feels like suddenly you see this thing and you're seeing the Saudi league and suddenly you see one Cristiano Ronaldo. It looks fake. It looks so
Mm,
incredibly fake to see Cristiano Ronaldo. I know it's
Yeah,
real, right? I'm not claiming it to be fake. It is a real Cristiano Ronaldo, but it looks so made up. That jersey,
who
yeah,
that
knows?
floor, everything just goes like, what
Hey,
is? It's like a mirage in the middle of a desert, and you're like, am I seeing things? And of course, you're seeing things because it's bullshit.
this is
it's true.
this is not, please, this is not racism. This is a little bit of generalization. But the
Yes.
moment
Never,
people start,
never begin a statement saying this is not racism part. But come on. Yeah.
the moment people all converge towards the Middle East, you just start creating doppelgangers for your own safety. You don't know who is who.
Oh, this is
Copyright
such
strike,
a fitting
copyright
episode.
strike, copyright strike, and getting cancelled. This is Ayan's legendary.
This is the perfect episode for this. Yes, go on, go on. I love this. Oh,
Imagine if Saudi has a cricket league as well. They'll get that Virat Kohli clone over there and all of that. This would be. There's a whole sporting
Yeah,
industry to happen with clones playing the game. Honestly, Ronaldo's clone probably might play as well as Ronaldo's playing right now for Al Nassr. I don't see
you
how
remember,
it can be worse.
you remember the
true.
cricket game that we used to play, the EA cricket game. That's
Yes,
actually a Saudi team, Sachin
yes.
Tendulkar.
Tendehar. Yes, legends only remember. Virender. It was something
Say
else.
boy, say boy.
Say why. It was crazy. It was like that. Oh.
Man.
But yeah, what do you
So
think of the Messi situation, Ori?
Oh,
What's your take?
honestly, I think exactly what like you said. It's absolutely stupid. First, the way Qatar is run, that club is it's not how you run a football club. Um, they they have a power play of a different sort, which goes beyond football. It goes into yeah, it's a very stupid political power play that they even the whole situation with Mbappe signing him on and giving him all that power, I think just ruined the whole project of this club because just let Mbappe go and go get somebody else. You've got all the financial assets. Even if you want Mbappe to stay, make him believe because of the footballing project that you're creating, not by telling him that you can take shots uh, and like and run the club the way you think this club should run. Uh, Again, from Messi's part, I think it's again very very stupid to do something like this because at the end of the day, it's okay. It happened with Ronaldo. You come late to training. don't play a game. Same with Marcus Rashford. And why should Messi be, you know, put aside for this? But at the same time, would PSG have done this if Mbappe would have done something like that? Although I remember this was a couple of months back or sometime back, maybe beginning of the year, there was a photo shoot and there was not really photo shoot. Yeah, there was a photo shoot and PSG put out photos of Mbappe with jersey and whatever, blah blah blah. And then Mbappe came out and said, "Hey, we did not do this photo shoot for this particular event. This was done for something else." And I think PSG took out a very strong statement, going like, "This is not Mbappe FC. Uh, this is Paris Saint-Germain. If you say Paris or whatever." Uh, so yes, but that is still a statement that's kind of he's not really been fined or like told off for it. But on the other hand, which is like the only benefit that I see is of course Messi going out and PSG again not having another UCL and just being a club that is quite irrelevant in this whole European football. Like what if Messi
Yeah.
comes to United?
That is what I said. I said last week.
What if
I
Neymar
said we're going
comes
to.
to United?
I told you we're going to sign Messi and Mbappe next
I
season. That was my
again,
wild prediction. Yes,
why
tell
we
me
don't
you.
want
Why?
Qatari owners, because I don't think that works, right? Um, it's the same with Newcastle. I think Newcastle have been linked with Neymar more realistically than Man United at this point. Um, why though? Why would they do that? Their team is progressing. They have a manager who understands it. They don't need another superstar, or they don't need a superstar like that, right? And that era of making your team work around the superstar doesn't work anymore. That's a little restrictive in football, and we saw this with Ronaldo. It happened, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Messi is quite the same. I think Messi actually fits in a lot better at United than Ronaldo
I
did, because
think
Messi is
yeah.
willing to drop back, make those long balls, play it out, and he's there. I'm not entirely convinced. I kind of feel like it's a very short-term gain kind of a thing. Even if it works, it's just a couple of seasons, if at most. Is this a structure you're building that can last forever? Is this an aim that
No,
you're going, okay, I got a player like Messi now. Now I'll need another guy who can play like him, and Messi is showing the template for it. We don't have a guy who'll play like Messi, right?
no.
Unless we think that
I'm
Anthony
trying
is
to
going to
see
go.
options for Messi. Like if I were Messi, yeah,
Yeah,
and let's say I still have, I think Messi has 2 years to
Two,
easily
3 years.
perform in an Ericsson role, yeah, and be really brilliant at it because
yeah,
he is adaptable. He doesn't mind falling
yeah,
deep, right? So
yeah,
if I'm Messi and I go like, okay, I'm done with PSG, not going back to Barcelona.
yeah.
What are my other options? I mean, he can technically, like I said, three years. He can even play the next World Cup. But for that, um, you need to be handled by a club professionally. Your aims need to align with the club's aims. And how many clubs that are out there whose aim will align with Messi's aim currently and will also fit the situation perfectly? I don't think there are too many clubs out there. I think one of the perfect clubs that actually fits this criteria is United. Like it's
Ah,
just the fact that he understands the game. It's I am talking it's having an extra leg in the midfield. I don't see Messi as a striker. I see Messi as
City.
a
City, Liverpool.
Well, City
Liverpool
more
with
than anything else. What? Yeah, I mean, look, City. He's played under Pep. He knows how Pep plays. City could let go of
Bernardo.
Bernardo Silva, likely to go to Barcelona. Um, it wouldn't be a bad idea. And then they have Foden, so they are capable of replacing a player like Messi with another player who can do a lot of what Messi does.
Yeah.
So United don't have a player who, I mean, Anthony is the closest I can imagine who might replace what Messi does, but doesn't have the range. So
No.
what is the long term? I
Hmm.
understand Messi's side. He could
Yeah.
go to United. He could go to City. He could. I think nobody else can afford him.
Liverpool
Newcastle.
with Liverpool with McAllister, if they sign McAllister, then I think Liverpool becomes an attractive option also for him.
Yeah.
He can play in
Yeah.
that midfield. Thiago is anyway going to not
No, again,
play most of the
I,
season.
like
Yeah.
when you say about what's the long term. Well, like when we signed Ronaldo, we didn't think about long term. It was like just we are going to hopefully win something right now. So I
Yeah.
Yeah.
think when if you bring on a number 9, you bring on a young defensive midfielder, and you bring on a goalkeeper, and then you have the option to sign Messi for free. I think that just solves a lot of your. It just solves. You've
Goals.
got, yeah. It just solves so many problems by one player, because this player and the whole. It's not that he doesn't work along with the team. He understands a team better than the team needs to understand him. He's one of those players who adapts to the team rather than the team adapt. Like Mbappe is not never in his world passing that ball to Messi, right? It's That's not his style of play. But Messi has thrived. He's still got one of the top assists in Europe this season. He
Mm.
doesn't care how the other person plays. He cares about how what I can do to improve this team. And he is just a footballing genius to also get you 10 goals across the competition now. It is a
Yeah. And
far-fetched dream. I don't think
I
it's
see.
happening though. It's just like,
No, but like we're playing fantasy football. I see a point.
yeah,
I think with Messi, yes, there is a possibility of using him in that lineup pretty well. I think adaptably, we could also. He's also the kind of guy who, if you sub him
hmm,
out at 60 minutes or sub him on at 75 minutes, he's okay. He'll have a steady head with it. Yeah,
yes,
and he will actually have an impact, as opposed to someone like Cristiano, who's a little more like it's all about me.
hmm,
But to to me, for United again, we saw what happened with Ronaldo. That short-term solution leaves us with gaping holes after that. Now,
yeah,
United have still a limited amount of budget, right? Now, if you have infinite budget, why not get Messi? It's fine, but then why not get Mbappe? I don't know. Maybe not Mbappe. Let's face it. But with I don't know how, if you build a style of football in Eric Ten Hag's second season, which
hmm,
involves a genius and a once in a generation player like Messi, how do you continue that? Whatever that team
yeah,
gets used to over a season, even if we win a treble, which is fucking fantastic, but after that, when we don't have Messi, we just cannot build that. It's impossible, right? Like, and we saw Barca took a while to figure that out into how to work around without Messi. They got Lewandowski. That was the way they did it. United don't have that luxury, so
yeah.
I'm, I like the romanticism of it, and it'll be great to have Messi wear a number 7 at United, because that's the jersey he will get at United. But it's also I'm in two minds about it, and I don't think again if Qatar buy it, I don't see them going like, oh, you win to Saudi Arabia, great, let's buy you for Man United now.
Yeah,
That's not gonna happen.
yeah,
Sir Jim, Messi's not the Sir Jim kind of signing either. Sir Jim will
yeah,
probably sign someone a little more sensible transfers.
yeah, for sure.
So I don't really realistically know anyone at United who might come over who'll buy it. It's more like a Glazer signing, honestly.
Mm. That's true. But that
Yeah.
leads me to another question about Messi. Uh, who would you guys say has had a bigger impact in PSG? Lionel Messi or Vikas Dhurasu? I want to know your thoughts.
Oh my
Because
God.
frankly,
I
and let
I'm
me,
going to look at I
yeah,
think
Because
you should look. Yeah, look, you have to look at this because, like, let's be honest. Messi was brought in to win the Champions League, right? For PSG, and that's not panned out. Sure, they've won a few
yeah,
leagues, but they've been winning those leagues anyway without him in the first place. So, like, if and now we know that he's leaving in the summer, or at least that's what his dad's saying right now. So, if we had to uh, critically look at his contribution to PSG, like, would you say like overall it has been? How would you say it has been actually? I won't
hmm,
even go about it. Yeah,
ooh, um,
right.
yeah,
Thorasu won the French Cup and nothing else for PSG. He was actually a better player for Lyon, apparently. He
No,
won
he's been
Yes.
French champion twice
Yes.
for
Yes.
Lyon, for Lyon,
for
not for
Lyon.
PSG.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
For
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 Lyon,
Lyon.
Lyon.
for
So
Lyon.
he's done
Yeah.
it
So
in a
because
shittier club.
Lyon greater than Messi PSG. No, you can't do this, right? That sounds
I know we can't.
ridiculous.
It's crazy, but it's just an interesting comparison for our
I
Vikas
mean,
Hirosu fans.
titles matter, right? Ask because
Yeah, absolutely.
I need a
Because
Vikas
Dorasu.
Horasu. By the
Yeah.
way, I did not know that he won an Italian Super Cup
Yes,
with AC
with
Milan.
AC Milan.
It's crazy, right? Like the guy has been had such an underrated career, to be honest and to be fair. It's so crazy. That's why I brought him up. Like I didn't have any stats and all because I didn't know like if people would even realize he's
No,
a
because
footballer or
Dorasu.
not. But
I'm trying
yeah,
to,
but this is yeah.
I'm trying to
Wow.
find what he's done in his life, and this is not easy to
It's not
understand.
easy. It's not easy, but it's good that we should give him some props. Like I think he's been
He's won the French League Cup with Bordeaux. That
man
is incredible.
drunk on wine. How do you explain this? Like how crazy?
He's
Yeah.
participated in the World Cup
Mhm.
once. He's participated in the Olympic, the France Olympic team. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
So
he's scored 16 goals in Liga, 14
Yeah.
assists. I don't think Messi quite compares.
I mean, for a
I
guy,
know Messi's played far fewer, but like 6 goals compared to 16. Vikas Horasu any day.
Because Dorasu.
Vikas
because
Horasu, the perfect farmer.
Oh,
uh, yeah,
So wrong.
it-
We're now
it's
going to get
crazy.
cancelled in France.
Oh,
But
we're gonna get cancelled all over the place in Saudi Arabia, in France, in
uh,
we're gonna get
I-
cancelled all over the place.
I'm
Oh, it's
okay
gonna
getting
be fun.
cancelled in Saudi Arabia. I think the best things are, so it's fine. Free flight.
Ah,
I hope I'm allowed to drive there. That's just it. But yeah. Anyway,
you're
sorry.
not a woman. It's fine.
you have long
It,
hair right now, so you know.
I know. You never
yeah,
know. Long
Yeah,
as long
hair.
as you
yeah,
don't identify as a woman, I think they'll let you drive. It's fine.
yeah.
I don't think I'm
It
allowed
doesn't
to
matter.
identify as a woman when I drop in there.
Yeah.
But so
But yeah, no, I'm
still,
asking this because like PSG has been dominating that league like for the last what decade or so. Like, and it feels like they don't have uh, any competition at all. But
yeah.
that brings me to my next segment where wanted to know what you guys thought about this. But Napoli just won the Scudetto, so we can get into the next segment and then we can continue this discussion from there. So yeah, the reason I'm the question basically is Serie a more competitive league than not just the Premier League but like most of the other leagues because they seem to have a different winner each year, right? And that makes for a
Yeah, three different
very
winners last 3 years.
yeah last so
Inter, AC, Napoli.
yeah, so Inter, AC, Napoli, and then of course there was the Juve domination for a
Correct.
while there when these guys fell off. But over the last 4 years, suddenly now you're seeing like
Yeah,
all these other teams they have a chance. There's all the point deductions in the middle. You get back the points, then you get back into top four. So there's all those things happening as well at the same time. But every year a different team seems to be winning, and the teams that won the last, I mean, like Inter and AC are right now Champions League semi-finalists as well. So it's not like they are shit teams or anything like that. They are pretty good, footballing teams. But Napoli pipped them all this year, and won that Scudetto, which I thought was like absolutely incredible. What did you guys think and feel about it?
mute Arya. You mute.
I'll just go first because I have a very
Yeah.
short thing on it. I think
Sure.
when it's absolutely fantastic to see just the passion of the football there. What I really enjoy is that it's not a state-run team or a billionaire. I mean, they're all billionaires, but it's not just a lot of money poured into buying a player. They're all sensible transfers in general because not a lot of people, not a lot of the top talent are attracted to football. And while there's different winners, it didn't make much of a difference. But now you have two of your teams in the Champions League semis, so, and definitely one team in the final, the highest density from any of the
Yeah.
teams right now. And that's a nice trend. They need to maintain it for this to really work out, right? But there is a right trend. When you have someone like Mourinho at Roma also doing well, Napoli is doing really well, and it's so nice to see Napoli do well. I have a friend who's in Napoli, and she's just like, for her, she was crying because it's been so long since they've achieved this. And last time that they were at that level was when there was someone like Maradona there, and now there isn't a Maradona. There isn't a world beater. I don't see any of their players really winning the Ballon d'Or or
Yeah.
anything close to it. We aren't even talking about it. And yet they have won the league and palpably, I mean, arguably played some of the best football in the season. And it's just so heartening to see. I love that. I can't claim to have watched a lot of the Italian league, unfortunately, but I've now started paying more attention over the last few weeks because you see how Napoli does, and we are linked with Osimhen and all. And it is absolutely fantastic. The passion from fans as well, because they're just not. They love Italians are so warm-blooded, right? They're a bit more Bengali-like, like both of you, which is like you have your hearts on your sleeve, and it's the passions there, and it's the energy, and just like players, it's exciting. It's just beautiful. Whereas I see that with English fans, and you see that with Arsenal. Arsenal is a little more passion-driven, and then you have other teams like
Yeah.
even I don't find that with Madrid. I don't quite find that with Barcelona. The expectations are just let's win everything all the time. Even United has that, but seeing Italian football grow is beautiful, and I hope over the next few years they can keep getting more of their teams in. I hope Napoli's in the semis next year or finals. Or I mean, I genuinely 100% want an Italian team to win the Champions League this season, right? We all do. Let's face it.
Yeah.
I don't care who wins the Milan derby. That team needs to win the Champions League final, whether it's against Real or Man City. So it's a great thing to see, and it's been a while coming, and it's happened in this way that I did not think it will happen. It's not through money. It's not through expensive
Yeah.
transfers. It's not through having a world. It wasn't when Ronaldo went to Juve. It didn't happen when Ronaldo went to Juve. It's happened now when people have focused more on the football, just improving their game, their style, just being sensible in life, and I think that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ori, you have been to a stadium in Italy, right?
I've been to the training ground of Juve. I didn't go to the stadium, but I wanted to touch like I. It is one of the
Yeah,
most. It is probably the moment of the season for me, is to
great.
see both of these Italian clubs in the semifinals and to know that one of them is making it to the final for sure. When we grew up watching football, 99, 2000 onwards, I thought personally the most entertaining league in the world was the Italian league. You had Gattuso, Seedorf, uh, Pavel
Kaka,
Nedved, Alexander Del Piero, Kaká,
Yeah.
Maldini, Cafu,
Totti,
Totti, you name it. I'm telling you these names, and I've literally got
goosebumps.
chills all over. And those, it was such a joy to watch this team. Yeah. And from there, with all the drama that happened and the politics with the AC Milan and Juventus and uh, you know with the president and all of it, for them to go down, the whole league, and then to come back up strong all these years, uh, for manager like Mourinho to actually go like I will go and prove myself in an Italian league, uh, is very very commendable, and all these things have happened very very organically for them. They've not really uh, gone out of their way to actually have massive investments coming in. AC Milan, yes, they do have some sort of investment, and that's basically how they managed to really build a team and that won the Scudetto last year. Uh, but overall, it's been such a fantastic thing to even see Napoli win. Like man, it's I've heard so many beautiful story about Naples. It's a place that I definitely want to visit sometime in my life. And yeah, now to see the city rejoice, and that's what football does, right? Like it just brings people together, and like it was so nice to see Napoli win. Uh, yeah, and I really hope that they gun for the title next year. And in fact, how much ever I want Osimhen to come or not come to United, I don't want Napoli to sell their best players. I want Napoli to keep them, and I want them to really, gun for it next season. So yeah, it's amazing, just absolutely amazing. I personally want AC Milan to go through right now, uh, because yeah, I've always loved the red and the black. It had a it had such a vibe in the stadium. It was so good to see the Pirlos and the Inzaghi's play with the red and black. They destroyed us. I remember in not really. Yeah, they did. It
They
was
did. They did.
they did. Rooney got an equalizer at Old Trafford. I think it was 1-1 or 2-2, but then we
2-2.
went to 2-2, and then we went to San Siro and they beat us.
They
Um,
smashed us.
yeah,
Our
Rooney
smashed
defenders
us.
scored
went
again
on.
early, I think.
Rooney
Rooney
Yeah,
scored
scored
Rooney
early. He
early,
scored.
scored the first goal.
Yeah. Then I
like
think
on the
our
right,
defenders went
bottom
and
there.
sandwiched themselves, and then
Yeah,
Kaka went
just threw
rolling around
everybody.
and then uh, shot on the side. I hated that team. Oh my god, because they
Yeah,
beat us. But I also love that team because
yeah,
they were so good. Like they were
yeah.
just
It's
yeah
so good.
And
yeah
Italian
yeah
football has gone through a little bit of a lull, right? Like they won the Euros,
Yeah,
and then after that, they didn't even qualify for the World Cup. So hopefully, and I really, a strong Italian national team is always good for world football. A strong Italian league is good for European football and just football in general.
mm,
They bring about a very different way of playing the game. Much as we find Premier League exciting for us, there's a certain tactical nous that you can develop in
yeah,
Italian league as a manager that you can't do
yes,
anywhere else because you don't have
yes,
that. Like pace and energy and money kind of wins over in the Premier League and the La Liga. Whereas when you
yeah,
look at Bundesliga and PSG, you're basically one club teams, one club leagues. Whereas in Italian league, there are enough clubs who can play well. So tactical awareness, tactical understanding can actually make you beat a much stronger opposition by on paper. And that's where you look at Ancelotti, Mourinho. Some of these guys have done so much tactically. That's when I feel like a manager has really shown their caliber. If you can win a Champions League
yeah.
with an Italian club, that is exciting. You win a Champions League, honestly, with Man City right now, Pep Guardiola wins it. It's a bit
That's
like
all you need. Yeah, that's
it's
exactly what
not.
you're gunning for,
I'm
right?
not impressed. Yeah, and I'm not
Yeah,
impressed. You just
yeah,
basically, you can replace your defense 10 times over. You can do that. It's great to win the Champions League. So I'm impressed in the fact that you've created great football. But a manager's genius isn't that? That's part of recruitment. That's a whole football club's genius leads to winning the Champions League and
correct.
the Premier
Yeah,
League. Here, a manager has such an impact. You can see that style change, right? Like when Mourinho's at Roma, they play so different from how it was when Spalletti was there. I can't remember now.
hmm?
Or
yeah.
But
Spalletti was there.
yeah, right.
Spalletti was there,
And
and then they had a Roma player. I think they had Inzaghi also coached them for some time.
could
sometime
be.
yeah
I
yeah
think
you're right.
um, there's also that former other Man City manager and all. Anyway, so I kind of Pellegrini, I think, was there at a point. I'm
Pellegrini.
not sure again. I might just making shit up by now. But you can see that again, Napoli have won because of tactical superiority, not by player superiority. They've just played better football over the course of the season, and that's what it should be. That's what the romantic in us loves, even if it's not the most exciting football for us to watch. It is, I think, the most coach-wise intelligent, managers-wise
Yeah,
competently.
So do you guys think that there's a chance maybe for Napoli to sign Messi and like have his like final years of his career as a Napoli player in the likes of Maradona,
that
I
would be some
wish
fairy tale story.
right?
Some fairy
that
tale
would be
story.
infinitely better than him signing for
Yeah.
anyone else.
Right. I think that yeah, I'm leaning towards that storyline. I don't know what we can ask Guillaume Balage for his
Again,
inside
you heard
scoop.
it first here.
You
Yeah,
heard it first here, guys. Like just like yeah, let's just make sure that we are we are breaking
imagine,
all these crazy things
imagine
here.
to honor Maradona, he goes there, plays the season for free, and makes him win the Champions League. Then there is no GOAT
Amazing.
debate anymore.
Yeah.
There is no
No more,
debate.
no more.
No
Then he
more.
wins the World Cup. He goes to Napoli. He wins Champions League there. It's
Champions League.
over. Retire, man. Like call it
Go
quits.
home.
Go home.
Yeah.
yeah, and
I mean,
that's about it.
or just go to Saudi Arabia right now, and now you
Yeah,
can do
then go
what.
Saudi Arabia. Then do whatever you want. After that, yeah, start your own league. Like you can do
Yeah,
whatever you want. But
after
mm,
that, even if he endorses Trump, I'll still think he's the best football player
right,
ever to have played the game. I don't care.
pretty much, pretty much. After that, if he ever does
Milan
that, yeah,
all
He can do a Piers
time.
Morgan interview.
yeah,
Oh,
he can do a
No
Piers
worries.
Morgan interview. He can miss preseason. I don't care. Like that would be absolutely the fitting end to his career,
you
according
can
to
miss
yeah,
preseason.
Honestly, that's it, right?
yeah.
Uh, I agree.
That would be pretty epic.
But
Yes. So
but answering your question, I don't think it's more
yeah.
competitive than the Premier League. I
Mm-hmm.
just think
Mm-hmm.
it is more tactically intelligent.
That's
There
a
aren't as many teams that I think could win as in the Premier League. I know City are there, Liverpool are there, and now Arsenal are there, but Chelsea could be there, United could be there.
mhm.
Not Spurs quite yet, but Spurs could get there. So you have like about 6, 7 teams competing for the
Mm,
top four in the Premier League. I don't see that quite in Italian league yet, for what
yeah.
it's worth.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But like that's a good segue also to the next uh, segment,
Good, good, good.
which is which is how do you measure a club success? Yeah, so it's good that we are anyway touching upon this, like about what is competitiveness or what is a managerial tactics, or is it like just blasting goal after goal after goal, which pretty much is what, like, the blueprint maybe that Arsenal and City are following in that sense. Like they have more goals than I think most other clubs around Europe. Uh, is that a measure of success? Would you say that if you improve on your points tally from last season, it's a success? How do you guys how do you guys like determine like what makes a club successful over the course of a season?
Well,
And is it different? Yeah.
yeah, I think definitely it's different, and the way I see success is you can't measure success across platforms or across goal. Like Arsenal has scored these many goals, and United have scored these many goals, or conceded these many goals, or conceded these many goals. This is the style of football that we play, and this is the style of football that we play. I think success is determined by the club and what the club's vision is. So, if, for example, if now Brighton's vision since coming into the Premier League is to just be consistent and be a team that finishes above 10th, and if they have done it consistently over 3 years, their next rate of success should be this is a mid table team. Now we don't finish 10th, but we finish 5th to 7th. Yeah. If you can do that consistently, you obviously want to gun for Champions League. Now, and kind of keeping these metrics consistent is what you will evolve as a club, right? That's metrics to any success. I start from the bottom and I reach the top. The problem of actual success determination where people start judging is once you've reached the top, because once you've reached the top it's about maintaining that success, especially in something like football, because you're just competing for 4 leagues, right? What can you do more than that? Then it's not that Manchester United gets a golden ball at the end of it. Yeah, it's the player who might get Ballon d'Or or whatever. But as a club, you if you are successful, you then got to figure out different verticals, different metrics that have helped you to get to this level, and then figure out what your oppositions are doing next season for them to compete against you, and then you brush your verticals and your metrics to go like, that was last season's success, so this season's success, and for me to still compete for the league or for the title or for the top two requires me to do XYZ. And if you fail that, I think as a club, as a whole, from the club to the CEO to the board of directors to the manager, his coaching staff to the players, you've all failed collectively. So sometimes, and this is for only for a vision for a club. That's ideally how I think it should work. But then there is also success of Sean Dyche walking into a Everton, or a Sam Allardyce walking into a Leeds United, where with 5 games left to play and then you save the club from relegation, which wasn't initially how uh, they had planned in the beginning of the season. But they are at a position right now where success is very short term, and then you just get done with that success and you move on with your life. But ideally, I think success should be determined by the club owner of each clubs that are run, or by board of directors, or otherwise it's very difficult to judge success, right? Like, who is a more successful manager? Um, is Thomas Tuchel still more successful manager in Chelsea because he's won the Champions League, or for that matter, Robert Di Matteo? He won the
Hmm.
UCL, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
is he a successful manager, or is Jose Mourinho a successful manager by winning the Premier League thrice with Chelsea? So how do you judge this kind of success? It's very short term, but it's finally the vision of the club that kind of materializes, according to me. But again, in today modern days football, if your club is not run like that, if your club is run, for example, how United was run for the last 10 years, you're looking at short-term success, or as a fan you're looking at short-term success, because then your every met, like last season with Ronaldo on, in all of our heads we thought, oh, we finished second the previous season, we've got Ronaldo on, maybe we are getting a trophy this season. That's how we started. And then by the end of the season, we were like, let's just get into the top four, guys. If we can do that, we've had a successful season.
Mhm. We didn't do that
I,
either last season.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yes, you.
I kind of I think that's really well defined as a manager's success, and I think you have kind of defined a club success that I kind of agree with. I think just to boil it down to perhaps a formula, it would be where you kind of expect them to finish and how well they actually do. So preseason, you like when the season starts, you look at that team and you go like, where do you expect to finish? And then you see where they actually finish. So if it is above, that's a successful season. But that season by season, that metric is again not a position on the table, but it is a level of how much like you get a result against West Ham. You get those wins when you're at draws, those kind of things, right? Those are the metrics for me. And season by season, there has to be an evolution. So a club's success to me is not defined by one season. A manager's, a player, a squad's success is. But then comes in recruitment because look, for many reasons you might struggle. Like for us, right now we should be in the top three comfortably rather than in the top four. But Martinez is injured,
yeah,
Casemiro 7 games, and I see that. Look, that's going to have that effect. We didn't get a number nine. We lost Ronaldo, and then we never got a number nine. So when we got Ronaldo, I don't think we needed Ronaldo to make us win that title. What we needed was perhaps a CDM. So had we got Casemiro, that's where I would have thought, okay, now we can challenge for the title. We didn't get that. We instead got Cristiano Ronaldo at that moment. And that's kind of been the repetitive cycle of a lot of clubs where they look at success within season by season. Clubs, I think, need to look at success over time. Style is perhaps, to me, not about success. It's just about being
no,
exciting. Style is great, but you can
yeah.
not be engaging football.
Goals win matches for me at the end of the day.
Yeah, right? I don't think Leicester
Yeah.
played great football when they won the title, especially in the second
Real
half of the
Madrid,
season.
Hmm.
the
Real have
Yeah.
lost two
Galacticos are
seasons.
the
They haven't
best
played great
example
football.
of it. They don't play
Yeah,
great football. Three counter attacks, three goals, game over, go home.
True.
yeah.
That's
True.
basically them. And
No,
they've Sir Alex Ferguson. Tell me, what is Sir Alex Ferguson's style? Why on earth Park Ji-sung, who's the left winger, is playing central midfield against Arsenal? Because we just need
mm,
to get that ball, play dirty, and if Park gets the ball right in the middle, Park Ji-lung can run and just run, and that's basically it. You don't want him to run on the wing. You want him to run from the center of the pitch. It's tactical changes, but it doesn't change. It's not like Pep Guardiola who will go like Jack Grealish out, Phil Foden in. What do you do, Phil Foden? Whatever Jack Grealish did. So the tactical changes are very small and very minuscule when you have a system like a Liverpool or or a system like Manchester City. You are just drilled to do that. I don't think Man City can play long ball. I mean, Erling Haaland is still there. How many times do they play a long ball on his head for him to bring it down? No, they don't. They will never
Only
play
that
it.
Arsenal match. Yeah, only that Arsenal
Only
match.
that
They
Arsenal match.
yeah, true. No, no.
I,
This is
I
a
yeah,
mm,
I agree. I'm I agree with you. Sorry, Ayan, go ahead.
no. It's very interesting. This topic is very interesting to me also because like and I thought of it only because like I don't know if you guys came across this, but I was watching like the NBA playoffs also is on. So
Hmm.
uh, they had like the eighth seed was playing the first seed, right? The eighth seed Miami Heat knocked out the first seed Milwaukee Bucks, who were the last year's champions, and like it's a 7 game series when they play in the playoff. So like they beat them 4-1, and so they asked this guy who was in the Bucks, like who lost, like the reporter asked him like straight up like. Um, do you think you had like a was this season a success or a failure to you, right? And you see this guy like calming himself down, and he's like, okay, I'm not going to make this personal. Right. Then he tells the reporter, you asked me this same question last season also, and last season I won. But this season I've lost in this first round of the playoffs. But you asked me the same question, and I will tell you that uh, there is no such thing as failure in sports. It's only steps to success. And so then he tells the reporter, Michael Jordan played 15 seasons. He won 6 titles, but lost 9. So would you say 9 seasons he failed? Or would you say 6 seasons he's success? And he goes on this rant which went viral on social media a bit, and it got me thinking about like how these players or how these managers would view the same topic versus how us fans we look at it. For us, of course, if we are winning, if we get the trophies, if we finish in the top four, it's all well and good. We have like we follow the team every month and every week, but I don't know how they look at it themselves. Like are they looking at it as okay, like did I get more goals than I started, like that I wanted to get? Like Marcus Rashford, I don't know whether he's going to think he's had a successful season or a non-successful season. I would believe he has had, right. He's had his best season
Yeah,
up to date, right. Like he's won a trophy also. So like when he looks back on this season, he can be like, oh, like let's say for example we don't make top four, but he will still go like, yeah, I had an epic season that year, even though he's missed these chances, and he could have had a even better season. For him, it would be a step in the right direction towards maybe becoming that 35 goal striker, that or like that 40 goal striker. Who knows? Like I don't know where his ceiling might be and what this season will do for him in the future. So I agree with both what you guys have said. Like vision is super important. Uh, Having this flexibility of managing to redefine what your success metrics would be depending on the situation you find yourself is super important. And like it's such a it's such an interesting topic to me, how we measure this and how our expectations versus how the reality like unfolds within this. And this is what makes sports really engaging for people, right? Because it's constantly moving. Like we
correct.
can constantly keep playing around with these boundaries. Like okay, now if tomorrow, like let's say we qualify for the top four, or we uh, we beat Man City in the FA Cup, we have had an absolutely mind-boggling season. But if we don't do that, like, is it fair to say that we have not had such a good season, even though we have come like really close to it, right?
That's
It
that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
interesting. Like City, right? Like City lose 3 games now, they'd win nothing. Have they had a bad season just because they lost 3 games at the end?
Mhm.
Or and now I understand your question a little more, which is a fan perspective of it, and I think it's a mix of all three. I
Yeah.
think it is. just to boil it down, then a formulaic thing would be more like, the curve of the club, and you take the derivative of it. This is so
Hmm?
mathematical. You
Yeah,
take the
yeah. No, no.
derivative of the
Yeah.
curve of where the club seems to be going, and then you go like, okay, this is a slant, and this is where I see it's going right now. And then you trace it and go like, will it reach there? If the club reaches there in terms of your sentiment, fans is just sentiment, and if you look at the curve later on, the derivative, if it's got a sharper incline to the better side, you're like, okay, this club has done better. It's a successful season. So for um, Man City, it's hard to define success because they're such a strong team. You get Erling Haaland, what did you expect this to be? You expected them to course through everything. If they don't win, to me, Champions League is one thing, but if they don't win the Premier League and FA Cup, I think it's a failure. But then if they win the Champions League, it's a success, right? So they
Yeah,
prioritize that. So the fans, I don't think entirely thought, okay, we've got Haaland will win the Champions League. Obviously, it is a hard task. But when you got Haaland and you're the best team in the league, you go like, we'll win the Premier League, obviously. And I think the success thing, the 3 points you mentioned are also vital, because when you know that you've won a trophy last season, it's a bit like PSG. You won those trophies, and you're like,
yeah,
yeah, I can win that again and again and again, and that's not success. So trophies are not the success. Points tallies are not the success. Style, yeah, not necessarily. You can have great style and still lose. It's a combination of all three and how you feel as a fan.
yeah.
Arsenal season has been supremely successful, whether or not they ever win a title this season. It's been one
True
of the
that.
most incredible seasons. You saw how they were last season. You see them this season, and you're like, wow, I want to watch them play. And Liverpool, conversely, have had one of the most unsuccessful seasons out of it,
Yeah,
because their style suffered, their points suffered, their trophies suffered. All three combined. And the complexity of it is points aren't defined just by you playing in isolation. You play against other teams. So if Brighton have
yeah,
become better, the 7, 8 teams have become better, the points tally will be less. City can't win by 105 points every single time. And so there's so much complexity in understanding stats. Some guy's injured, you're replacing one guy, a transfer just didn't happen, or some other team just got five really good players and they just burst through the league. So success can't just be determined by one of these factors, but on a
yeah,
fan level, it is the optimism you feel. If you could quantify optimism and where you see it going, what you feel at the end of the season minus what you feel at the start of the season. If the sum is a positive number, great season. If the sum is a negative number, bad season.
I think the other
That's.
way of putting it
Hmm.
is, instead of success, let's say right now, instead of turning this what defines a
Hmm.
successful season, you go like, have you achieved what you said to achieve this season?
Yeah.
Because
Fair.
sometimes you overachieve, sometimes you underachieve. So you can go out to go like, I want to achieve these 10 things. And that could include style of play. That could include clean sheets. That could include goals. That could include top four. Now you finish third, you've overachieved. You finish fifth, you've underachieved. So Aston Villa, have they had a successful season? Yes, but I think they have overachieved everything. So then it is not really successful. They set out to achieve something, but they've gone. In fact, they've done so well. Now there's going to be pressure next season. There's going to be massive pressure. So then success metric suddenly becomes this a word that just weighs down on you, going like, oh, I've had so much success this season, what are we going to do next? But if just, I don't know how it works psychologically, but if you turn this around and go like, this is what I've achieved this season with what I got. Next season, I want to continue achieving this, but I wish I could achieve a few more things or just better a few of those achievements. And that's about it. I don't want to achieve anything else. I just want to better the 10 achievements of last season.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
I concur.
Totally, totally. No, this is why I wanted to have this discussion with you guys, because like both of you played football, and then you guys also are running a company, are managing different people, and I think it translates, in the sense that it's still the same. How do I say, blueprint, if I can call it that.
Yeah. Yes.
It's still about managing people. It's still about figuring it out, and like defining your own uh, verticals, or defining your own measures of what you would define as success. And I think, yes, that's the formula that you put out, or even like looking at it in terms of like achievable goals, and then what you achieve them, they are in fact, within psychology, that's exactly like how you would try and look at something and try and make sure that you can follow, you have something to follow. Otherwise it's a bit too abstract, and
Yeah.
then it becomes a bit then it becomes very very hard to define. And it's very very interesting, and I love both your perspectives on this, because yeah,
No,
because
fascinating
like
conversation. Great topic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, no, it's one of those things, right? Like, because we were successful that way, in a sense, under Mourinho, right? We had the
Yeah.
trophies. We
Yeah.
didn't have the style. we
No.
didn't have we had more points than we had in the previous season, but we didn't really have the points to, like, we had relatively
Challenge
better
for
than
anything.
everybody. Yeah, but we were still like hugely different from this thing. Then under Ole, we kind of improved the style, we improved the points, we improved the goals we scored, but we had no
You couldn't
trophies
get
to show
across
for
the
it.
line.
Yeah. And like now we have a trophy, we have some style, we are getting some points.
Yeah.
So it's like it looks promising.
But
It looks
Yeah.
but
yes, but
Ole had a better away record for whatever it's worth.
Oh,
I'm kidding. That was a joke.
for now he did
for
have a
now,
better Ole record. For now, yes,
Ole record.
I
only
yes,
record.
yes. All
Always.
records are records till they're broken, and
Yeah.
that is
That's how it
the
is.
that's how it works.
Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
you can't deny that he had a better away record. He has one of the best records of coming back from 1-0 downs as well. Like
He's
now,
beaten
i
Pep more than anybody has beaten Pep.
yeah, he's got Pep's number. Like Pep is his bunny, like literally. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
so, like I'm thinking like maybe they should just hire him to come and like coach the FA Cup like final, just for
Halftime
that.
team talk. Halftime team
Halftime
talk.
team talk.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Killing it.
if you guys have any of you been seeing his social media? Like, have you seen his Instagram posts? Like,
I
Ole Gunnar
uh,
Solskjaer.
saw one.
yeah, yeah.
Wait.
Have you seen? So we lost it against Brighton, right? And he
Yeah.
posts a picture of Bruno Fernandes running in the Brighton game that he coached, and he's like, I have good memories from this fixture. This is like right after we lost to Brighton. Like Ole going super troll, like super hard troll, like it's insane. I was laughing my head off. Uh, like I didn't remember it, but like yeah, I was like, wow, I didn't think Ole had that in him. But it was on Instagram, and I was like, it was like official Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is
Yeah.
coming
It
up
was
with some,
official. But Ole Gunnar
huh?
Solskjaer.
So he's coming up with some, like, some deadly material, right? Like, and the timings of them, wow! I was like almost impressed. I was like, I didn't know that. I mean, I knew he was a smiling assassin, but I was like, oh, okay, this
He
is
was
like
called
a
that. He was called the
yeah,
smiling what
Yeah.
babyface
The
assassin.
babyface
a
assassin.
baby
While
face
he
assassin.
looked like that,
Number
he knew
20.
how to be an asshole.
Yeah,
Oh, of course.
he sure does. My
Of course.
goodness, I was like shocked when I saw that. I was like,
That's why
oh,
you could score
okay,
those goals.
true,
That's
true,
because you're on the defender's back.
yes.
It's the only way. I've been a striker. You've all scored goals. You know the best way to get goals when you're inside the box is to have the ability, number one. But the most important thing is to get in the other guy's head. To
Mm.
know that guy should be just uncomfortable with your presence inside the box. Yeah, because either you score or you just go and just look at him and make him feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
really weirded out, going like, "Why are you looking at me?" And that's not football thinking.
No, no,
I'm
no.
thinking
That's
I'm looking at you just because you think, why are you looking at me? And yeah, you get your goal or whatever else that you need to do in the box.
it's like Haaland was farting all over Gorenska. I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys
he
caught
just
that.
yeah.
Yeah, he was just farting all over
Every time there
Goretzka.
was a corner, he just
Yeah,
stood. Goretzka was marking him. He just stood there and yeah, he just farted all through the game. That was incredible.
unbelievable.
That is
It's
success.
these.
When you can fart
Yeah,
on will.
when you can fart on your defender and get a yard over him just to
In
score,
pressure in pressure situations, if you can fart without shitting,
that's
then
that,
you're a
that
man, my
that's
friend.
I think so. I think that's a good measure of success.
Gary Lineker would be proud. Well
That's
done.
the secret.
uh, Lovely. That was great. But let's just move into the final segment
Yeah,
Yeah.
of the pod.
yeah.
So short and sweet. We watched
Yeah.
the first game last night. What do you guys think? Who are you guys waiting to get to the final, and then who's your pick to win?
Ari, you go first. I don't have the balls for
Uh,
this.
Yesterday's game, I'm not going to really talk about it because I didn't watch it that much. I saw it in bits and pieces. I saw both the goals, absolutely fantastic. I don't think De Bruyne's goal should have stood, but that's VAR, and that's why VAR of Words is here to kind of break it up and go like. Anyway, I think Real is going to Manchester and Real's beating City there. I think they know exactly what needs to be done. I hope it really freaking happens, because yeah, the I saw somewhere there was a post on Twitter where I think Yaya Toure's agent came out and said no, he's feeling okay now. The curse has been lifted. Man, I am
Okay.
going to find that agent again. Whatever he needs, I'm going to sort him out. We need to put that curse back,
Is
right?
back on.
Yeah, yeah. And the AC Milan Inter Milan, I personally want AC Milan to go through. And yeah, Real Madrid versus AC Milan sounds like a very Galactico final.
Mhm. Okay, I'll allow you to do this. What your heart says and what your mind says. So, who would you want to win the Champions League? Who do you think is going to win the Champions League?
Heart says because AC Milan, mind says Real Madrid. I think they are just too good. They know exactly how to do this. It's like how Man City knows how to win the league. Real Madrid knows how to win this cup competition. Like they just know it. They know how to win any cup competition. They love this one-off games. They are like the Galacticos of this one-off games. You bring a cup game on, you bring a knockout game on, something happens to them.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yo
they
yo.
just they drive it in. I think. Ooh, my head says City will win at
Oh,
Etihad. They're a very strong team. Pep is an absolute legend, genius, home support. Not like there's a like those guys, those fans really understand
yeah.
how to cheer their team on. But um, realistically, they have enough in their tank, and they're a better team than Real Madrid. They should win. But a part of my heart, and again, heart is not just what I want it to be, but it's just like gut instinct tells me Real will still pull it off, just because they just know how to do this. I don't know what they did. Uh, I haven't seen great football from Real. Like we were talking about style versus trophies. I think the Real fan will take trophies over style any day. Yeah, points, nothing fucking matters. Just win me
Mm.
trophies, win me 35 Champions League titles. That's all I care about. And I think there's enough of drive in them to do so. So I think uh, uh, that's going to be the decider. The other one, ooh, I do want AC to be through. I think AC could go through. I think it's a close run thing. Something just makes me that gut instinct makes me feel like Inter's going to win it over the two legs. I think. It's hard because I haven't followed the Italian league very closely. I've just started following it more
Yeah.
recently. Napoli were winning, and maybe I've got the wrong end of the season, but I just think that Inter may have focused on this a lot more.
It's a
So
very
I,
balanced team though on paper. Very, very balanced team.
it's a good game.
Yeah.
It's a great
Yeah.
game. But I think either of those two teams cannot compete with the either of the other two teams between the City Real Madrid. So whoever wins City Real Madrid leg two wins the Champions League. So to me, that's the final. The
Yeah.
match at Etihad is the final. Whoever wins that will win it. But it would be so beautiful to see Inter. I have a soft spot for Inter because of Mourinho. Yeah. It would be so beautiful to see Inter win the
Yeah.
Champions League. So you're asking me for predictions. Inter's going to win. They're going to lose 1-0 tonight. They're going to win 2-1 next leg and or 2-0 next leg and go through. I think on the other hand, Real Madrid will That match will go to extra time. Real Madrid will win an extra time. That goal is going to be scored by
Wow.
Modric. Controversial, but it will be a goal. It will be a correct goal. We'll all be super happy. Pep Guardiola will feel terrible about it. Will resign because he realizes he's never going to win another league out of it. And yeah, and on the other hand, the Milan derby will have Inter winning, and Inter would go over there, and somehow, actually no, it's in Istanbul. No, fuck it.
AC
Mm.
Milan go
Milan is going to
final,
go back and recreate
and
history in
they are three
Istanbul.
0 down at halftime against Real Madrid, and they come back to win 5-3 at full time
Ooh,
against
love that.
Ancelotti. Fuck Ancelotti, man.
Love that. I love that. That's a nice
You
storyline.
wanted predictions. If
Wasn't
that happens,
Ancelotti AC Milan's
wasn't it
manager when
in
Liverpool beat
2003?
them?
I
Yeah.
just wanted to check that. I started talking before I could do that.
I
So
think
I was
so.
like, AC Milan champions.
I have a strong feeling it was Ancelotti.
Yes, it was.
It
Yeah, it would
was.
be fantastic. So
Yeah,
either
yeah, yeah.
way, if it's Real Madrid versus AC Milan final, it's Ancelotti's redemption or AC Milan's redemption at Istanbul, and I think that would just be a beautiful narrative.
Yeah.
Mm.
I want AC Milan to then win, but even if Real Madrid win, it'll be great for Ancelotti. Terrible for
Awesome.
AC.
Awesome.
What about you?
My
No, you can't get away with it. What's your
Yeah.
I'm
prediction?
not getting away. I'm not going getting away. I'm gonna give my silly predictions. I feel like of course Heart wants Real to pip Man City because I'm a United fan, so obviously I don't want Man City to win. But it's really hard to bet against them at the Etihad. Like they don't lose that often. They have
Yeah.
everything. Like they have all the superpower they need to basically win and like maybe even steamroll Madrid. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Like if they win 4-0, right? Like
Yeah.
would any of us be shocked or surprised? I don't think so. We'd be like, oh, the City just had one of those games where like they just destroyed a team at home, and we'd be like, yeah, it's just bound to happen kind of thing. So I don't want them to win, but it's really hard to like bet against them, especially now since like last year they had the practice run, they did the dress rehearsal last year, they lost, like they were winning for like 89 minutes, they were winning, like they were going to go through. So this year I think it's just about like managing that one extra minute, and I think this year like it's difficult to see that Real Madrid coming back. But as you said, Real are the king of proving everybody wrong, like year after year after year after year. Like three Champions League consecutive. Okay, who? Real. So
Most
it's an
clutch team
interesting,
ever.
most
Yeah.
clutch team ever. Yeah. On the other side, I'm very torn because we have Inter with former United players. Well, Lukaku is not really that this thing, but Mkhitaryan plays for Inter there. Matteo Darmian is there.
Hi,
So
Darmian. Yes,
Yeah. Matteo Darmian.
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
guy I was
yeah.
thinking of. Well,
Matteo Darmian is there, and so Inter is kind of like more heart because there are some ex-United players there. Although AC Milan have Zlatan, so like
Yeah.
again, like it's a bit torn. But mine says if Rafael Leao is fit, I have to take AC Milan to go through in that one. I think they're just an amazing
Yeah.
team. That they have that midfielder also. I think his name is Sandro Tonali or whatever.
Sandro Tonali.
That
Sandro
guy's
Tonali this
yeah,
side, Barea and Di Marco on the other side.
correct.
Yeah. We are
They have
fantastic.
an amazing
Yeah.
amazing team. Very very good. Would be nice to see them in the final. But if Rafael Leao is injured and he doesn't play both legs, then I have to start favoring Inter with their experience. They have even, I think they still have Lautaro Martinez
Yeah,
who's
they
just
have
come back.
Lautaro.
yeah,
It's
they
Lautaro,
do.
Yeah,
Lukaku. They
yeah.
have strong.
Yeah,
They have
They
not a
strong
have
bad
a
team.
defense
strong
as
team,
well.
Yeah,
strong
it's not a
defense
bad
as
team.
well. Yeah. So it's hard.
Skriniar is gonna.
Mm. So mentally, I will say Man City versus AC Milan is the final. Heart wants exactly the opposite. Like I want it to be Real Madrid versus Inter in some sorts, but yeah, don't see that happening. But it would be fun, like either or combination. It's quite easy when United is not playing, right? I don't mind making
Yeah.
wild prediction. It's got no responsibility. But yeah, that's mine. Let's see what happens.
I like
Yes.
your Italian hopes. I think all of us want Italy to win.
Ooh, olives.
Oh, wait. There's three for each of us.
Ooh,
Yeah. So three of us have gone with olive wins.
three of us in episode 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 olives.
Well done. Three olives.
Yeah.
Wonderful. With that, we say goodbye
Thanks. Thanks a
and
lot,
until
guys.
next week. Thank you,
This was
guys.
good fun.
This was a lot of fun.
Yes. See you.